Before we start, let me ask you something. What if the most dangerous killer you could ever meet looked completely normal, polite, educated, charming, the kind of man your parents would trust, and yet he was responsible for the disappearance of dozens of young women? Tonight, you'll see how evil sometimes wears a friendly smile. This is the story of Ted Bundy. In the early 1970s, young women began disappearing across several American states. College towns were shaken. Students vanished without warning. Some were last seen walking home. Others disappeared in broad daylight. At first, authorities believed these cases were unrelated. Different cities, different circumstances. No obvious connection. But there was one chilling detail repeated in multiple witness reports. A charming young man, sometimes wearing a cast or sling, asking women for help carrying books or loading something into his car. A harmless request, a moment of kindness. And then they were gone. Ted Bundy knew exactly how to manipulate trust. He appeared injured to lower defenses. He seemed polite and educated. He didn't fit the stereotype of a criminal. He blended in. And that made him incredibly dangerous because nobody suspected him. Investigators slowly noticed similarities. Victims looked alike. Young women with long hair parted in the middle. Witnesses described a man introducing himself as Ted. And strangely, many disappearances happened near college campuses. But without physical evidence, police struggled. And Bundy kept moving. From Washington State to Oregon to Utah, leaving fear behind him. Then something changed. In 1975, a patrol officer stopped Bundy late at night for suspicious driving. Inside his car, police found strange items: handcuffs, a crowbar, a ski mask. Not illegal by themselves, but suspicious enough to investigate further. Eventually, Bundy was arrested for kidnapping. Yet even in custody, he seemed calm, confident, almost amused. Few people realized how dangerous he truly was. But Bundy had another plan. And this is where the story becomes unbelievable. While awaiting trial, he chose to act as his own lawyer, which allowed him access to court libraries and movement without restraints. And one day, he escaped. He literally jumped from a courthouse window and vanished into nearby mountains. A man accused of murder, on the run. For days, police searched desperately, but Bundy escaped capture, until he was finally caught again. Yet incredibly, he escaped a second time. His second escape was even more shocking. Bundy lost weight in prison, slipped through a small opening in his cell ceiling, and crawled into the jail's attic. He dropped into a guard apartment, walked out the front door, and disappeared again. This time, he fled across the country, and his crimes escalated. In Florida, violence struck again. A brutal attack inside a college sorority house left multiple victims. Panic spread nationwide. Police realized the killer had become more aggressive, more desperate, more reckless. Bundy's careful methods were slipping, and mistakes began piling up. Finally, in 1978, a police officer stopped a stolen vehicle. The driver tried to escape, but officers caught him. It was Ted Bundy. This time, there would be no escape. His trial became a media spectacle. Cameras filled courtrooms. People watched in disbelief as details of his crimes emerged. What shocked many observers was Bundy's personality. He appeared confident, sometimes even joking. He cross-examined witnesses himself. He proposed marriage in court. It felt surreal. How could someone capable of such horror look so normal? Eventually, evidence proved overwhelming. Bite marks matched. Witness testimony lined up. Victims were identified. Bundy was convicted and sentenced to death. But even in prison, he fascinated the public. Psychologists studied him. Journalists interviewed him. People wanted to understand how someone so intelligent could become so monstrous. In his final years, Bundy admitted to many murders, possibly dozens more than authorities confirmed. Some investigators believe the true number may never be known. In 1989, his execution ended one of the most infamous crime stories in American history. Outside the prison, crowds gathered. Some celebrated, others simply watched history unfold. But for victims' families, nothing could undo the loss. And that leaves the haunting question. How many killers walk among us unnoticed? Bundy didn't look like a monster. He didn't hide in shadows. He volunteered at crisis centers. He studied law. He smiled, and that was the terrifying part. His story changed how police investigate serial crimes. It changed how people think about trust. And it reminds us, evil doesn't always look the way we expect. Sometimes it looks friendly. And maybe the most chilling truth is this. Many of his victims